What's up, Go community? This is Zach Parkerson, not Scott Clark, because you're just stuck with the Gaming Outsider this week. Luckily, CB and Chad are here to help me as we talk over our From the Outside In topic, as well as some news stories. News including June 2020 having some record sales for video games, and the 12-month Xbox Live subscription card going away. And when we get down to new games, you got Ghosts of Tsushima and CrossCode are being discussed. Remember, no such thing as a bad game. Just games that aren't for you. Now get ready, samurais. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greeting programs, and welcome to episode 304 of the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's the Monday, July 20th. I am your host, Zach Parkerson, and because Scott Clark is not here this week, you are simply stuck with the Gaming Outsider, which consists of Chris Berensmeyer.
What up, man?
And Chad Cusick.
How you doing, man?
Who is suddenly Italian.
That sounded Italian.
I don't know. How you guys doing? CB. How your prints going?
Good. They're keeping me busy. Except I hate Pegasus. It's a stupid print.
That's true of history with you.
Yes. So I'm ready to throw that one in the trash. So, but yeah, other than that.
Chad, you up to anything exciting? You have a big week?
I started a new job last week.
That's a big week.
So that was pretty exciting. Get back to work again.
Is it actually exciting? Do you like this job?
We'll find out when I start doing the job, because basically I've just been training for the past week or so, not actually doing the sales part of it yet. So we'll find out, in the next
probably not
month.
wise to ask you if you like jobs on the air. They could find out.
They could.
Yeah.
But
right before we just jump into the week's news, Podcast Award nominations are up. Ready for your votes. So to podcastawards.com. Please vote for us. Scott Clark of Scott Clark of the Gaming Outsider really wants us to win an award one year. And I wouldn't mind either.
I just want to see him cry like a little girl when he finally gets it.
Well, what's fun about it is he'll cry either way.
Probably.
It'll just be different tears.
All
right.
So since he's gone, this is the comic show, right?
Yeah, man, you want to talk about
see how that goes.
The new Green Lantern series, man? It's just so whack. Grant Morrison has to be doing LSD most days of the week, right? I mean, it's the only way that guy makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
Chad, I assume you're a huge comic reader.
I used to read them in the newspaper.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I about fell out of my chair on that one, honestly.
He's over there reading Peanuts.
Yep, no hot takes for you guys on that one. I just read the funnies.
Family Circus.
Hey, it was a good one. I've learned a lot of lessons from those boys growing up.
Oh, that's so sweet, Chad. Also explains a lot. All right, what do you say we jump into the news, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Nintendo started off this week with a little mini direct where they announced a bunch of their third-party offerings. Also in the news this week, Microsoft's discontinuing the 12-month Xbox Live subscription plan. The Last of Us Part 2 selling very well in its debut month. What a shocker. Microsoft is halting production of the Xbox One X and all digital Xbox One S, whereas Sony just announced they're going to double their PlayStation 5 production for the year. Any stories jumping out at you guys?
Oh, I mean, first and foremost, I kind of want to dive into this, the Microsoft discontinuing the Game Pass.
Okay.
That's... I can understand why they're doing it, because they are really pushing the Game Pass Ultimate thing moving forward. And it's definitely a different pay structure, but the fact that the 12-month subscription is going away is really surprising to me.
it says to me that they don't want anybody long-term invested in gold, right? Like, it feels like they want everybody to convert to the hybrid plan with Game Pass.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chad?
I think it's definitely the idea is to get people towards Game Pass Ultimate. The thing is, you do the math on Ultimate, and you don't get any break for having the year-long deal anyways. So that kind of sucks there, actually. I think if they're going to switch you over, they'd give you something for doing year-long passive Ultimate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, though, I'm wondering if they're not going to be rolling out something new when the new console drops. Because I know they also said that they're going to be pushing like Project X Cloud with the new console. So I'm hoping that somehow they continue it. I mean, for what you get, I'm still honestly shocked at how much you get with like the Game Pass and everything. But maybe they're just going to be rolling in live gold with it all, period.
Well, what there seems like they're doing. Yeah, they're just slowly getting geared towards that. We'll have to see how xCloud gets involved in that. I guess that's the big guessing game right there. Because there's probably going to be some monthly thing with that.
Yeah, you throw xCloud into Game Pass Ultimate, it starts to feel like that would be an insane deal, right?
Yeah.
For $15 a month. And that might be a smart move. But it does feels like gold's going away almost.
Yeah, I mean, is it really worth paying just for? Because when you like, it's been so long since I've just had gold. Right. I mean, essentially, you're just paying for access to voice speak.
Well, in multiplayer, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you're basically paying to have it for multiplayer gaming in general.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of Xbox Live Gold.
I'm really willing to bet that moving forward, maybe that's just rolled in period into, you own an Xbox and you have access to the internet. Multiplayer and voice speak is free, especially with things like Discord and other services like that. So for me, what gold used to be doesn't make sense anymore. They're getting more people into the Game Pass Ultimate and just Game Pass in general. So I guess I can kind of see the reason for just gold going away. But the only thing that I really take away from it is the fact that I'm going to be losing like the free games every month.
You know, it's actually a really good point, I think, CB. Because if you just like offer multiplayer for free, and then because now you're incentivized even further to get Game Pass because you know you have access to all of these multiplayer games, and you can just pay for it. You can just play them right away. I mean, it doesn't feel like a bad idea, right?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, PlayStation multiplayer and all that's free.
Was.
Well, okay, was. So just another chink in that armor there against the other side.
And Microsoft's strategy of, what were you saying, Chad? Sorry.
With gold, you're really just paying for the online subscription. That's all it really is. It's access to being online with Xbox is its first and foremost purpose. So if they can just roll that into every package saying, well, you have to be wanting our online access, yeah, they can hide the price of it in there and do whatever they want with it. But your gold really, like I said, essentially just comes down to is you're paying for the ability just to connect to their internet services at this point. It's the access key.
Right.
Yeah. So I honestly see that kind of just going away.
Hiding it, making the cost hidden elsewhere, and giving it a new name.
Make you feel like you're getting a hell of a deal. Which I guess, well, you are.
That's what marketing can do. And yeah, I mean, Game Pass Ultimate, it is a good deal. I've enjoyed it since I've had it, so I'm not going to put that down by any means.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Chad, did you have a news story you were excited to talk about?
Well, I think that kind of ties into the future of gaming changing as well because of Microsoft halting their Xbox production plus Sony doubling PS5 production. I think that all kind of ties a bit together that these consoles have to be coming quicker even though they're not announcing a date. It makes you feel like they're coming sooner rather than later at this point.
Well, wasn't Sony's initial like numbers was something like 500,000 consoles, and that was it for the first run.
I'm not sure what they initially announced, but before the increase recently was 5 million, then they upped it to 10 million.
Which, in the grand scheme of things, is not a lot. So
It's still doubling.
Yeah, it's doubling, but when you look at a worldwide release, that's not a lot. So I'm happy that they're doubling the production so they can get this into more hands. So I mean, it'll make my life easier getting my hands on one.
Right, and it'll cut down on those scalping bastards out there.
Yes,
That'd
it
be
will.
Nice.
So I'm excited, man. Like I'm really chomping at the bit for new system. I want it to be holiday 2020.
Well, it's got to be before the holiday at this point. With how much news has come out recently, you got to figure they're still got to be sometime in the fall, October, November release.
They're both still sticking with that holiday 2020 and everything they're putting out.
This has to be the shortest, I guess, with the exception of the Saturn that launched immediately.
Yes.
But otherwise, this has to be the shortest, like, price announcement to release window, right? Like, this is insane at this point.
Yeah,
We're coming up on August.
They've waited for it.
Yes and no, because at the same time, when you look at like the PC market, I know a lot of higher end PC stuff. They don't tend to announce the price until like just a couple months before. So
But we're talking console releases here and how they relate to each other. I mean, generally, most often you would have the price at pre-order, and now we have people that have how many pre-orders and with still out even knowing a price and just don't care and will pay anyway.
True, but again, it is a changing market. I mean, there's always that stupid rumor out there that this is going to be the last console generation. We're just moving to PC.
I've heard that a few times.
Yeah,
consoles are just baked in PCs anyways. I mean, that's what they are essentially.
Yeah, they're just
a pre-designed PC for you.
It's just a dedicated PC.
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
But I mean, I'm
different names.
I'm still not surprised that we don't have a price yet. I'm willing to bet probably second week in August we're gonna get prices.
Let's write that down. Second week in August, CB's prediction.
Yeah, sort of betting pool.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
They need to do it soon enough to make sure people can continue to put money aside for it. If they're smart.
Yeah, I at the same time though, like I know that there's a lot of people out there that like regardless of what it costs, they're just going to pay it.
Yep.
I mean, aren't we all among them?
Yeah, we are
pretty much. Like I will. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess Chad's a much smarter guy than us. But I will be angry the whole time I'm paying $600 for a PS5, but I still will.
Yeah, I'm more like the Fry meme where it's just shut up and take my money.
Because I wish we could all live like you.
Well, debt sucks, but I mean, I pay it off.
You gotta do what you gotta do. I understand.
Yeah, Yeah. So, what about you? What do you want to talk about, man?
I love numbers, so I need to talk about June's sales here, because June 2020 was up 26% since last year. All right, again, like that's insane to me. But I'm going to run you down the top 10 because I find it interesting. Okay. So number 10, Minecraft Dungeons, which surprises me because it's on Game Pass.
True. Is it on PS4 though?
It is.
So
it still feels. You would think that that's a whole console where people really don't have to buy it,
And it's been out for a while.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is number 9. Number 8, NBA 2K20. Number 7, Ring Fit Adventure, which is awesome because last month it finished like 837 or something in the sales chart.
I've actually been
trying to get in shape indoors.
Yeah, I can't find a copy of it. I've actually gone to like Best Buy, Target. Nobody has it anywhere.
How stoked is Nintendo that a flop is now a hit
Yes.
because of COVID? That's wild. Then number 6, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 5, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 4, because somehow not everybody owns it, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 3, and what?
I was going to say, I'm wondering if that number isn't because of people still buying online like cash for that game.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I think it does count digital sales, but I still think it's just copies of the game sold. But I guess every day somebody turns 17, right?
Yeah.
But that's still insane to me.
It depends on what stat you're looking up. I mean, if you're looking up new games sold, then that's pretty straightforward.
That's pretty impressive 7 years on to be in the top 5 every month.
Yeah.
That's freaking wild. Number 3, Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is doubly impressive because that does not count digital sales. Number 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And then no surprise, the best-selling game of June was Last of Us Part 2, which is now Sony's second highest launch month for exclusive, after Spider-Man, of course.
Yay.
That's an impressive start, man. And that game's awesome.
Yes, it is. My biggest takeaway from this, though, is I'm very happy to see the game community thriving, very much so as sales. I mean, the fact that it's up 26% since last year is huge. So, thank you, COVID. I'm just
finally COVID did one thing nice.
I'm just really surprised though with the amount of unemployment that these numbers are this high.
Well, if you're unemployed, how else are you going to pass the days?
True.
Honey, I'm going to take us into debt because I need to buy a Nintendo Switch. I don't care if they're going for $800 online. I need one.
Oh my God. I actually just saw somebody reselling a Switch Lite for $450.
Ooh. No, thank you.
I am not surprised, honestly. They're sold out. Aren't they still sold out at the manufacturing level?
I believe so. I'll occasionally see like one or two pop up like at a Target, and then I'll walk back by like 15 minutes later and they're gone.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm going to check out they do have Switches, and then you go get your Cheez-Its or whatever. By the time you come back, they're gone.
Well, it tells you don't get your Cheez-Its first. I mean, you see it there and you want it, just grab it.
That's true. You can't have your Cheez-Its.
It makes me really happy, though, to see the Switch still selling this insane.
Another Nintendo is making out like a bandit on COVID-19.
Yes, they really are.
They're doing okay.
So I was actually I know it's not on here, but I'm actually kind of surprised at how hard it was for me to track down a copy of Ghosts of Tsushima.
I've heard this from multiple people.
Oh my God. Like I was at GameStop the moment the doors open and they're like, oh yeah, we don't have any copies. I'm like, what? How do you not? It's launch day. And they're like, oh, well, if you didn't pre-order, they apparently all the GameStops here in town only I only got in the exact amount of pre-orders.
Interesting.
And I'm like, what, for like a huge game release? Like, are you insane? And like, oh,
I was told the same story for Devil May Cry 5 of all games.
Wow.
Yes, right. But yeah, you're right. Like Ghost of Tsushima, where'd you track it down? Best Buy or something?
I had to go to Best Buy, which is like on the other side of town for me. But I stopped at both Walmarts in between here and there. They were both sold out. And Best Buy had 4 copies left.
Wow. Now, do you think it is a pandemic shortage? Do you think it is selling better than they anticipated? Because I do have a theory on this.
I think it's both. Like,
okay.
I think there is a little bit of pandemic shortage due to production facilities being not as high. But at the same time, like I'm hoping this isn't going to be the case moving forward with games, which is one of the only reasons why I wanted to bring this up in the news area, because there are still a few big game releases between now and the new consoles, like Avengers, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Cyberpunk got moved to next year. So, but yeah, like I'm just still really surprised that on a launch day it was that hard to find a game.
See, now my anecdotal evidence is this game, I think it is just selling better than Sony thought. I think Sony thought it was going to be kind of like a kind of a mid-sale. Yes, very much so. Especially based on the way they've been marketing it, which feels like they've been marketing like an afterthought. Putting all their money into Last of Us. But I've had like my father plays like 4 games a year, and he messaged me about Ghosts of Tsushima. My sister, who I think's played like 20 games in her life, probably finished 0, was messaging me about Ghosts of Tsushima. Like, people at work are asking me about Ghosts of Tsushima. I think people were really excited about the feudal Japan setting in a way that I don't think Sony properly anticipated.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Interesting.
I do think it is.
I'm really anxious to see the sales numbers over the next month for this game.
I agree, man.
That would just blow my mind if Sony's just like, oh, look, boom, we broke records again with an exclusive title.
It would feel very much like Days Gone, another game that they mildly marketed, and then it felt like it was coming out, and Sony almost didn't care, and then it sold like gangbusters.
Yeah.
It feels like this is another chance at that. Which, as we'll talk about later,
yeah,
it's well deserving of. Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we jump into what we've been playing, I guess we got a little housekeeping to take care of. CB, do you want to run down some housekeeping for us?
So, as everybody knows, we are an independently funded podcast, which means we have to pay for all of our podcast hosting services, website all on our own, which is why we have a Patreon page where fans can contribute money to kind of help offset the production as well as give back to the community. If you'd like to help out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. Keep in mind, every dollar that is sent to us, we find a way to put back into the community. We have no new Patreons right now, but patrons at the $3 a month level even get access to some bonus content. So right now we have our Break the Seal for the Uncharted series, our spoiler cast for The Last of Us 2. There's a huge backlog of stuff. I know Spencer's putting in a lot of work at putting in some stuff for us. Upcoming, we still have our Dirty Games episode. It was supposed to be recorded last week, but due to some family issues, it kind of got pushed back. We're working on recording it this week. I promise. So,
right.
But yeah.
And you can sign up at patreon.com/thegocast. All right, so before we talk about what we've been playing, got a few new releases to run down for you. Rock of Ages 3 Make and Break comes to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and Stadia July 21st. Creeks, which is the next game from the Machinarium studio, if you remember that game, coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC July 22nd. This game, I think, looks awesome as you play an undead, or a barista who gets to talk to the undead, Necrobarista, coming to PC July 22nd. You get to play as the monster in your own horror movie in Carrion, on Xbox One, Switch, and PC July 23rd. Switch can run Crysis with Crysis Remastered on July 23rd as well. Dying Light gets its Hellraid expansion because somehow the game is still getting new DLC on PS4, Xbox One, PC July 23rd. Roki comes to PC July 23rd as well. Rain Swept, a 2D detective game, comes to PS4, Xbox One, Switch July 24th. And then I only put this on the format for CB. Paper Beast comes to Rift and the Vive July 24th. What are you guys picking up?
I would pick up Paper Beast, but it's coming to the Rift and not the Quest. Makes me sad.
You're all in on the Quest now?
I only have the Quest. So, I have the Quest and I have my PSVR, so.
Okay.
Wah, wah. But, yeah. I would play it. Carrion, though, man, I'm down.
That's the one I get out of him. That looks pretty fun. The way that monsters running around the levels, sucking people in.
It looks different, right? And that's always exciting.
Yeah. Horror movies are cool. I'd like to play a beast in one.
Who doesn't want to be the thing in the thing?
Yeah, the thing. I'm actually still, like, it blows my mind that the Switch can play Crysis.
Doesn't it kind of... I feel like internet jokes for 10 years are now all ruined because Switch can run Crysis.
Yes. Like, how?
Did you watch the tech demo like they were doing with this?
No, I haven't.
Like, it looks good. It's got foliage physics and everything.
Yeah, no, it looked pretty entertaining watching through the trailer that was linked. Everything blowing up.
Yes.
It makes me cry.
Dynamic
because I spent so much money building a PC back in the day that could run Crysis, and I'm like, oh, look, my Switch can play it. This is awesome, guys.
Well, I'm excited for the memes about how, my top tier gaming rig can run Crysis, just a picture of a Switch.
Yeah. I'm going to play that too, though, because I love Crysis so much.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be finally I will play Crysis.
Oh, thank God.
If I had a Switch, I'd be getting it. For sure. It looks like a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Necrobarista excites me the most. It's on PC, so I will have to wait. But as a barista, I would love it if I could talk to some demons and stuff. So I will
aside from the ones in your head, right?
Well, those are my best friends. They're not demons. Just because they tell me to do bad things.
I can see that being a new series. Like the next one is going to be Necrotender, where you're a bartender for demons.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, I am too.
I feel like we had a really hot run of bartending games.
Yeah, well, coffee too, because it was Coffee Talk, Coffee Crisis, Necrobarista.
Yes.
Coffee seems to be the hot thing.
Ha ha!
Dad jokes never get old.
I like it. That was good.
All right. Well, I suppose we should dive into it. So, Zach, you and I have been playing Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yeah, which cracks me up because I keep calling it Ghosts, plural, Tsushima, but the game's name is singular.
Yes.
It's Ghosts of Tsushima, and I keep saying it wrong, and I hate myself for it.
Well, get it right.
Chad, you've not been playing this, correct?
I have not. No, I don't have a PlayStation, so I cannot play this.
Aww,
so
that's
when someone wants to let me borrow one, just let me know.
My heart is actually broken.
How much have you guys put into this so far?
35 hours.
Whoa, not that much. I would say 15 to 20, maybe, which is still a lot for me in a weekend.
Yeah, that'd be a lot for me in a weekend. I don't get that much in.
Yeah, absolutely. But like Kurosawa, I make mad films.
So initial reactions then.
So he's like,
what do we got?
Man, this game is so good. This game is gorgeous. I'm just gonna come out and say that, like, first and foremost.
Yes.
It's everything I wanted Assassin's Creed to be.
Okay, right. I'm glad you said this, man, because that was my thought going through these opening hours. Was like, how Ubisoft keeps not making a feudal Japan game because, quote, it's too obvious a setting for us, unquote. And Ghost of Tsushima just showed, like, what were you doing? This is what everybody wanted out of that.
This game feels like Assassin's Creed.
Right, but it feels like one of the early ones, the good ones, as it were.
It feels like Assassin's Creed 2.
Yes. Yeah, it feels like Assassin's Creed 2 or Brotherhood, like, right when this franchise was at its height. Because, it's you get to hop around all kinds of buildings. You get to go inside every building, which is fun. But yeah, the world is beautiful, very colorful.
Yes.
Which I find surprising.
Okay.
Luckily this game is actually fairly hard to be it's fairly easy to be spoiler free with this.
I was gonna say I feel like I barely interacted with the main story.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've done almost every side quest in the first act, period.
Yeah, that's kind of the path I'm on. It's almost treating it like Breath of the Wild, where I'm just like, I'm gonna go east and see what I see.
So you have like a main area you would call home at all, or is it pretty well just open world and you're exploring through it?
So the game is broken down into acts. There's the large island. Act 1 takes place in this section of the island. Act 2 opens up the next section. And in each section, there's just... It's huge. This game is massive. Like, stupidly massive.
See, you say massive, but it's also dense, right? Like, there's not a lot of. You're not going to waste a lot of time. There's always something to do, 2 minutes from each other. Like, there's not a lot of dead air in the world map.
Unless
so you're not walking around random places a lot, like say RDR2, which people complain about in that game.
This game, you can do that a lot in this game, but they make it so you want to, because the scenery is gorgeous. And this game has a mode called Kurosawa mode, which is like black and white, like the old Akira Kurosawa films. So you can just sit there and just watch the environment around you, and it's beautiful.
And it somehow makes the music better, Kurosawa mode.
Yes, it does.
I feel like it makes the music pop more. But even in terms of, right, like it's a samurai open world action game. And it's really big on the honor system of samurai, of honorable duels and whatnot. But your character Jin, who is on a revenge quest because it is a video game, he learns that honor might not be the only way to win a war. So then you're becoming the ghost. It's kind of the conceit. And you're learning that sometimes you have to throw away honor for victory. And that's kind of the premise.
Well,
but
you have the option to throw away honor. You could just straightforward this game if you want to.
You're correct. Yes, which is cool because you can so the combat, first of all, is very intense. And I was thrown off at first. I don't know about UCB, that has no lock on. That really threw me off at first.
Yes, I'm actually kind of surprised by that, but the combat flows so well that I almost feel that it wasn't necessary.
Oh, well, I was gonna say in the opening section, which is like linear for about the first hour or so, it's very confusing because you're fighting like one dude at a time, and you're like, why can't I not lock onto this guy? But you'll find in most encounters it is 6 or 7 guys, and what I find interesting, and I don't really know if I've seen this in a lot of other melee action games, the enemies don't wait for their turn. You know what I mean? Like a Batman, one thug will punch you at a time. Like in this game, it is the spear dude will stab at you, you dodge him, but the sword guy is already also swinging at you, while an archer is firing at you. Like, they don't wait. So I think the lock-on would actually really mess you up.
Yes.
So I think that's why they didn't even give you the option, because they knew that your instinct would be to use it all the time, and I think that the combat would be frustrating if you had a lock-on.
It'd be making you too focused on one way when you might need to be reversing your combat frequently, as far as what you're paying attention to.
Dodging and parrying from all directions at all times.
That sounds kind of fun,
it's
actually.
It's really intense. And
it sounds like it'd be pretty involved.
It is. And I already know, for the most part, where I'm going to place this game as far as my games ranking for this year. So I already know where this falls. I think I cannot stop thinking about this game.
Yes, it has that same effect on me. I just can't stop thinking about it. Because it's
it has that effect on me too.
It is, well, it's because you can't play it and you're jealous. It lets you do everything you'd want to do from all the samurai anime and movies you've seen in your life. Like, you can clean the blood from your blade before you sheath it. You can call out to the leader of a group of men for a one-on-one duel. It has these cinematic boss fights where the camera's pulled in close and you're doing a lot of, your swords are clanging against each other while a thunderstorm's happening in the background. Or you can you follow fox spirits to dens. It's got everything you'd want in this setting in one game.
Oh, I mean, come on, man! You can even write haikus.
Yes, you could write haiku. You go to hot springs and bathe. There's nothing I'd want to do as a samurai that I cannot do in this game, and that's awesome. Including, it's got a Sucker Punch who made Infamous. It's got the parkour similar to Infamous, which is also fun.
Yeah. Have you come across any of the bamboo slices?
That was very tough.
Yeah, they're not easy, but the satisfaction you get from completing them is awesome.
I feel like an accomplished swordsman.
Yeah, you really do, because those are complex button patterns.
To explain it to you, Chad, you get about 2 seconds to input 3 button presses. And then you have to do 5 button presses in the same amount of time, and then you have to do 7 button presses in the same amount of time. And as soon as you press one, Chad, the buttons go away, so you have to memorize them. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But it upgrades your resolve, and it feels like you've earned it, which is really cool. I haven't done the stealth. I like the stealth. It reminds me of Tenchu.
Yeah,
because you get a lot of like smoke bombs and stuff like that, and you can like crawl under people's tents and assassinate them. I am doing the combat more because I just find it so freaking fun. But I gotta delve into the stealth system some more.
Oh, just rolling up on a town though, and just hitting the standoff mode.
Yes,
and just be like, who will fight me? And I'm like,
And you can upgrade it to after you kill the leader, you can also do a follow-up attack on his goons. So you kill like 3 dudes in one standoff. It's pretty great. This game's great.
It really is.
Sounds like you guys are enjoying it.
So much.
It's got a success. I thought I would like it. I did not expect this. It is a unexpected darling.
Yeah. If you have a PlayStation and you don't own this game, and you like combat, and you like feudal Japan, what are you doing? Go out and buy this game now.
Shout out to Sucker Punch. You know, they changed gears from a superhero game to a very grounded samurai experience. That's very impressive.
Word to that.
So,
that's good to hear. I mean,
yes. So I think we recommend it. But Chad, you've been pouring dozens of hours into CrossCode on Xbox?
Yeah, about 25 hours deep into that one at this point. Somewhere around there.
Now, this is so the trailer it looks like Zelda, but with more story. Is it more of an RPG than that?
It's an RPG. It's an action RPG with the Super Nintendo style, as some might say, the 16-bit. Actually plays, from talking to others, because I haven't played that one myself, but Secret of Mana is one a lot of people compare it to because of the combat style and how you go around the map. But yeah, action RPG, 16-bit, it's a lot of fun. It really holds true to the old school styles while making it feel a lot more modern.
I've heard a lot of people talk up the story in this game.
Yeah,
is it good?
There's quite a bit to it. I'm still figuring it out. Your character, you play an avatar that's in a video game world, so you're playing a video game that's playing a video game. And the thing is, your avatar doesn't know who she is in real life, so that's what you're kind of figuring out. You're trying to get some memory back while you're going through the game, and somehow it all correlates and comes together. So different parts of the game trigger different memories and things like that while she is logging off, which is supposed to be her real world. So logging off to you is just a series of flashbacks. You actually see it through an eyeball that's on the screen. You're looking through the middle of the eye, and it's kind of cool artwork the way they do that.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a cool little story. I mean, I have an idea of where it's going. There's an intro where you play this character who's trying to find her brother, and he passes away as part of the intro, and then you get into the game where you are now Leah, the main character, and obviously those have to tie together somehow, but Leah does not know who she is.
Interesting.
And she can't really talk either.
Like, she is mute via the story?
Yes, it's actually part of the storyline, and I'm guessing it correlates to the fact that she doesn't remember her real life, and obviously you don't see anything happening outside of the game, so that's all going to come together. But they say her voice module is screwed up, but as the game goes,
cool.
Yeah. So you're trying to talk that way at first. You get so many words added to your vocabulary as the game goes on. But right now,
really?
Yeah, right now I've got like 5 or 6.
Okay, I like that. That's a cute hook.
Yeah. So that's where a lot of the story comes in. Like I said, she doesn't know who she is, so that includes not being able to talk in the game because the real person is non-existent at this point yet, as far as the story is concerned.
Okay, and
because I don't want to give away any spoilers, you know.
So what is the gameplay structure? Are you exploring dungeons, or is it more of like an RPG kind of thing? Like, are you just kind of progressing through a story?
RPG with the temples and mines in it, kind of like a Zelda style would be. So you're exploring an open world map, or I wouldn't say open world, a map where you have so many rooms connected to each other. So you're going from kind of room to room. It's kind of the feel of it, up, down, left, right, through the maps, and then everything's based around a temple or a mine at the end of it. And these have a lot of puzzles in them. So if you're a puzzle kind of person, basically every room is a puzzle to get to the next room. They all tie together somehow. So a lot of dungeon questing in it. That's where you spend the majority of your time.
This excites me greatly.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good game. It's very well put together all around. To modernize it a little bit, you have circuits that you build. So as you gain certain items throughout the game, the elements of what you're trying to find, you get a circuit with more powers to build up, so you can build up your character that way too. Kind of decide melee, ranged, what your strengths are going to be, and things like that. And you do have to use, as the game goes on, you're using all the elements as necessary as part of the strategy. So combat is very involved, and it progresses as what you do in combat has to progress with the game, or you will not kill anyone.
So it is challenging.
Yes, it makes you make sure you're learning how to play the different styles of the game. But that's fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good game.
Yeah, CB, I think you'd dig it too.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like I would.
Yeah,
it sounds almost like a sci-fi Zelda.
Yeah, it's fast-paced too. I mean, considering the old school graphics, it moves just as smoothly and quickly as a new game, which makes the combat pretty fun. I do enjoy the combat.
I have to give this one a whirl.
Yeah, I'd say it's worthwhile.
I think I'm sold.
Yeah, it's been a blast to play. Like I said, it's been longer than I've expected it, so it's not really open world game as far as having the giant world where you just go from place to place. You can't fast travel, like I said, the way the map's built. But there is a lot of side questing to it, so you are going back and forth and around the map quite a bit. But thank you to fast travel, you don't have to walk through everything every time. Yeah. So there's plenty of side quests. I think that's why I have more time in it than I should at this point.
Oh, there are side quests and stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of side quests.
I guess when you said 25 hours, I was very surprised.
Yeah, and because it said you spend a lot of time in the temples, but they definitely add way more side questing than I expected.
Huh. Because like a trailer, I would have imagined, 8-hour dungeon romp. But I guess I was way off the mark.
Yeah, that's like, especially considering the length of the dungeons, that wouldn't be anywhere near it. And like I said, I was surprised too. The game's not even 3 gigs in size, but there's plenty to do, and I don't know, a lot to explore, even though it's 2D game, because the way they have the maps built, there's like levels to the map. So like you consider the ground level, the first floor, second floor, based on like mountains and plateaus. So they give you a lot to explore by doing that, and areas you have to figure out where they're at. So there's actually quite a bit to the game as far as an RPG and everything is concerned.
All right, man. I think I'm gonna need to procure a copy of this game.
Yeah, do it. I'd highly recommend it.
Right.
And I'll let you know when I actually finish it.
Yeah, if you ever do.
Oh, I will.
Sounds like a lengthy one. Yeah, yes, I know. You're digging it.
Yeah, once I do finish it, I'll get a written review out there as well. But we'll see how many hours this has.
And everybody can look forward to that. That is CrossCode on the Xbox One. I think it's available elsewhere as well. But because Scott Clark could not leave this podcast alone, even though he's on vacation, he did pre-record himself with an review of Paper Mario: The Origami King. Sat down with Rel to talk about Necrobarista, which I am very excited to hear about. And then sat down with Thomas to discuss both Desperados III and Willy Morgan and the Curse of Bone Town, which sounds like it should be on the Dirty Games episode, CB.
Yes.
So those are coming at you right now.
Well, hey there, Rel. How you doing?
I am not doing too bad.
That's good. It's pretty early for you over there, isn't it?
It is. The baby has learned to climb out of the crib, and all heck is broken loose.
Well, that sounds nutty. So you haven't hit the terrible 2 stage yet, right?
No, he's got a little bit to go before that, but he's already walking, running, climbing, and just generally scaring the heck out of me.
Well, good luck with that, man. I'm actually not on the episode this week. I'm on vacation, but we had a few reviews that I wanted to cover real quick. So you're going to be talking to us about Necrobarista, yeah?
Which is a really interesting game, but before we get to that, you're playing what I think is a more interesting game because it's Paper Mario: The Origami King, yes?
Yes, I am playing that, actually. I picked it up on release day, and I've put in a few hours into it. I'm like I said, I'm on vacation with my wife, so my only real opportunity to play it has been in the car while she's driving us to different places, doing vacation-y type stuff. But
God, I love that the Switch allows you to do that. And I've been looking forward to this game. It looked really good from the previews. The battle system looked, let's just say, interesting.
Fresh, something different.
Is it actually fun? Yeah, is it actually fun? Does it work?
I'm torn about my love for this game because I love me some Paper Mario. The original and Thousand Year Door were just some of the best writing that I had seen in a JRPG.
Absolutely.
And that writing is present here. The writing is as clever, at least for as far as I've gone into the game. The battle system that you mentioned is like this circular battle system where it's turn-based in that, you have to take your turn to attack the enemies by either jumping on them or hitting them with your hammer. But the main focus of the battle is actually lining up the enemies in a specific way to do more damage. So in order to do the maximum amount of damage, you have to have enemies either lined up 4 in a row, and if you do that, then you have to use the jump attack, and he'll jump at them like in order, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you line them up so that they're 2 by 2, then it does maximum power with your hammer. So the trick is that you've got 2 different ways to rotate the enemies to make them line up the way that you want to. One is to select one of the 4 rings and then adjust them and then kind of move them in a circle so that they line up. Or you can also change the perspective so that you line up 2 wedges that are like directly opposite of the center of the circle to you, and then you can actually rotate them forward and backward. And if they hit the back of the ring, then they come out the back of the other ring. So it's almost like a sliding puzzle that you have to do, which is super clever, and it's kind of breaks your brain. I can see this getting really complicated down the road. However, my issue with that is the primary focus of the battle system. And not only that, but you are timed. You have a certain amount of time to line up the enemies, and you only get like 2 moves before you're locked in with that, and then you actually go into the attack mode, which is weird. And I hate clocks. I don't know how much you've listened to me, but anything where I'm timed on a clock, I despise it.
No, I agree. Majora's Mask may be the favorite Zelda game for a lot of people, but it is not mine because there is a mask.
Right.
For deaths, there's a mask. There's a timer constantly looming over you.
Well, especially in a puzzle game when you want to sit there and kind of figure it out, right? So luckily what the game does is it gives you a mechanic to add more time, and it just costs you coins. And you get so many coins in this game, I feel like it's going to be a non-issue. Before I received my first damage in this game, because it is pretty easy, the first time I actually got damage from an enemy, I had 13,000 coins. So it's
13,000?
13,000 coins. It is really not difficult. The puzzles are so easy at the beginning that I never even took a hit, which is not what you're used to in a Paper Mario RPG. You're used to swapping hits with enemies, right? And
I would agree with that, yeah.
You don't really do that here unless you mess up the lineups. If you don't line up the enemies either in a straight line or in that 2x2 pattern, like I said, you're going to defeat the enemies before they have a chance to attack you. But as you get further and the puzzles become a little more tricky, you have to sit there and stare at it and try to figure out the order, and sometimes you don't, you just have to clean up the enemies anyway. It's a very interesting, fresh battle system. My issue is that I want Paper Mario, like the original Paper Mario. I just want a turn-based JRPG where I'm getting new hammers, I'm getting new boots, I'm having to use mushrooms and fire flowers here and there. That's what I want, and I appreciate that they're going for something different here, but I'm not 100% sold yet because it's not overly difficult. I've never lost a battle, not even close to losing a battle. Granted, I'm only like 3 or 4 hours into it. But it's still worth checking out. I still think the charm and whimsy is very present. It's very definitely a Nintendo game. The paper aesthetic, they've made new ways to make that interesting and fun. They've thrown in the origami. The story is that there is this origami character that is trying to turn the world into origami. He wants to go around and fold all these paper characters into origami, and it causes them distress, and they're not able to walk around. So you actually come across characters that that have been folded up into like little envelopes, and you have to hit them with your hammer to make them pop open, which is cute. Everything in the world is paper, which is not new for Paper Mario, but like you'll collect pieces of confetti. Like if you hit a tree with your hammer, it turns into confetti. You collect that confetti, and then as you walk around the world, you'll find patches of the world that the paper has been removed. And it's kind of funny because it looks like there's like this almost scaffolding buried beneath it, like the world was constructed with wires and everything, so you're kind of seeing it exposed. And then you throw the confetti on top of these patches, and it repairs the world, a la Mario Sunshine, where you had to like clean up the area, wash the area. That's what it kind of reminds me of. And then you get coins if you do that, or sometimes you find items. It's really cute. The writing is great. There is a lot of exposition, which I know something people do like in a Paper Mario game, especially like after Thousand Year Door, which is what I feel people wanted. The writing is top notch. It's really great, but there is a lot, and some of the dialogue you can't speed up. It just does it like
Oh God.
Yeah, not all of it. Some of it goes very, very quickly, but some of it because they're trying to do this dramatic effect or convey tone that the character is doing, so they make it slow down, and that just drives me crazy. Just let me read the text. I don't know. I'm not in love with the game. I'm not hating it. I'm just kind of indifferent with it right now because it's and a lot of that, to be fair, is because it's not what I wanted in a Paper Mario game. Like, can we just get another Super Mario RPG? Just call up Square Enix and have them do that again, because that's what I want. I want a hardcore JRPG that is fun and lighthearted with Mario humor in it, and that is here. But the battle mechanics just gets old very quickly. It either is incredibly too easy, or it just the puzzles, the timer goes so fast you can't figure out the pattern that they want you to do in time to be successful. I have not failed a battle. I've never lost a battle, and there's a plethora of mushrooms to increase your health and everything. But I'll speak on it more next week when I'm on the full episode. But it's enjoyable. It's lighthearted. It's interesting that the game is so easy to play, but there's so much text dialogue. Like it feels like a game that is geared towards kids in its mechanics. Like it's not very difficult to walk through the world and fight enemies and everything. But then it says on the back of the box that you have to be able to read to do it. So anybody that is going to read this much is going to have no problem with the puzzles. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess. It sounds to me, well, let me put it this way. The sentiments that you've described kind of echo a review I read in the Washington Post, where the reviewer was expecting and hoping for, some kind of RPG, and they just didn't find it. Like, they found a very charming adventure game, and they found a very interesting puzzle battle mechanic, but there wasn't a whole lot of depth to it.
Yeah, there's no leveling
system. Sounds like
at all.
Oh
like
my goodness! So
like when you beat an enemy, your only thing that you gain is more coins, which the coins again help you with. I haven't had to purchase anything yet. I've come across shops that have been closed, and I've rescued some characters that say, "I'm going to go back in the shop and I'll be there for you," and I have not finished the portion I'm at to go back and purchase things. So the only thing I've used coins for is to extend the timer in the battle, which is weird.
So if I can use a metaphor, it sounds like this is the kind of game that's like doggy paddling through the kiddie pool. That makes any sense. It's not a terribly deep game, but it's still keeping afloat with the other like pluses to it. The story, the characters, the dialogue. But it sounds like if you're looking for something that's super deep in terms of gameplay and mechanics, maybe go play Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition instead.
That's probably a good call. Let me put it this way. I'm a little bummed that I have to review this game for the site, when Ghosts of Tsushima just came out, because that game seems right up my alley and I keep hearing great things about it. So I wish I were playing that instead of Paper Mario.
So many people have asked me, hey, are you going to play Ghost of Tsushima on stream? And I'm like, it just came out and it's $60, so probably not.
I played it just about 45 minutes to an hour, and it feels awesome. The combat feels really good. But anyway, I'm not here to review that. You already heard the other guys talk about that on the show here just before I got on. But let's go ahead and get to the real. Again, that is the Paper Mario: The Origami King. I want to talk to you about the game you've been reviewing for us called Necrobarista. This one comes from Route 59 Games. And full disclosure, we received a review copy from Stride PR. So shout out to that PR firm for hooking you up with this one. I watched the trailer. It was a very short trailer. And the thing that stuck out to me the most on this is its art style. And I think you would agree with me because you mentioned it when we were talking about it. It looks very Japanese, but in an interesting way that looks very pleasing to the eye.
So, speaking of ghosts, completely different segue that also would have worked. The art style is, I would describe it as engaging.
Mm-hmm.
The character designs are like, it feels like an anime game, I guess you could say, but it's made by folks from Melbourne, Australia.
That's interesting. I did not know that. This is not a Japanese game. Okay.
Yes,
it looks like a Persona 5-ish type of art style, but with more depth.
I would technically say less depth because like the character models are more in line with probably like early mid PS2 era graphics.
Oh, okay.
And then Persona 5 is just hyper stylized, like almost newspaper cartoon drawings blown up into 3D.
Sure.
And I still haven't technically started that game, so
I've started it.
But anyway,
I'm afraid of the hour count on that one for sure.
Oh, I'm not. I've played Xenoblade Chronicles, all of the Xenoblade Chronicles and Fire Emblem. You know, I'm no stranger to triple-digit hour RPGs. But Necrobarista, on the other hand, is not really a game. It is more of a visual novel. And if you're already tuning out, let me just say it's sort of a visual novel for people who don't like visual novels.
Okay, I'm listening.
For certain reasons. Like if you don't like to read, if you want actual gameplay, you know, if you're not that much for the story and you want to run around, you know, doing things, this is not the game for you.
Fair enough.
It is just not. It is almost entirely text. Or I guess I should say almost the entire thing that you will be doing in this game is reading text.
Mm-hmm.
There are sections in between chapters where you can walk around in first-person mode and explore the cafe and like examine things, and those things you can use special tokens to unlock and read more story and get some backstory on the characters and the area. But otherwise, it is you going through this story, which I should probably talk about. It takes place in the Terminal, which is a cafe in Melbourne, Australia, or, you know, somewhere adjacent, that both the living and the dead can visit. The dead have 24 hours there as kind of a last pit stop before they have to move on to whatever is next.
Mm-hmm.
And so you follow the owner and barista of the cafe, Maddie, who is necromancer, and she runs into a freshly dead customer, Kishan, who, you know, they interact, they talk, you know, you learn more about him, you learn more about her, you learn more about the various other characters in the cafe, get some of the backstory behind what's going on. And so the main conflict behind it is that the cafe's behind in their ledger, essentially, but not in money.
So they're like in the red? Oh, in time. Okay. So is this kind of like Limbo? Yeah. Like this is like where you go after you die before you go to whatever is the afterlife?
Sort of. Yeah, it's not so much, you know, it's kind of like a waiting area, essentially. Mm-hmm. Because the people that are dead there have 24 hours. They can intermingle with the living. And then once the 24 hours are up, they have to move on. But some people have stayed longer than 24 hours, and so that goes on the cafe's ledger. And so they are overdrawn on time, so to speak, and they are upsetting the balance.
That's an interesting setting, though. I think I'm kind of intrigued by the concept.
It is really neat. Like, when I realized that it wasn't really going to be much in terms of gameplay, I thought, this had better be a pretty good story. And it has kept me engaged. It has made me want to find out what is going to happen next. And full disclosure, I haven't gotten to the very, very end. of about 75% of the way through. I still want to see what's going to happen next. I want to see how all this resolves. I'm invested in the characters. I want to see at least, some people get a happy ending. I want to see some people get an ending. And there's no bad people in this game. There's no really antagonist. Just people with their own personal missions and agendas, and those things sometimes conflict. But
so it's just not like there's a
bad guy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's you could also describe it as a slice of life type drama. Because it's this is what happens in a day in the life of Maddie the Necrobarista and Kishan the newly dead guy and the various other characters that inhabit the cafe.
Gotcha. So do you recommend our listeners check out Necrobarista?
If you're into visual novels, definitely. The reason I say why it's a visual novel for people who don't like them is because another big aspect of visual novels is making choices and going through various different branching story paths to arrive at a particular ending. This game doesn't have that. It's just one story all the way through. So if you're looking for a really good story and you want it to be, the more illustrated kind rather than just reading a book, because this has very stylized shots. There's some animations in the game, but otherwise it's basically they pointed the camera at a character when they were making a particular reaction face,
Right. And I'm looking, so I just looked it up here. It looks like it's available on, you played it on PC, right?
Yes.
It's on PC, it's on Mac, it's also on PlayStation 4. No, it's coming to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 later on this year, but you can play it on PC and Mac right now.
Yeah, and I vaguely remember, oh no, wait, that was a different game that was going to come out on the Dreamcast?
I think, was it this one that we were talking about? Yeah, let's come to the Dreamcast.
I forget. I don't know, but hey, Dreamcast fans, look out for a game coming to your console soon.
That was very odd. Well, I know you don't have...
Do I recommend it?
Go ahead.
Sorry, yes. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. If you're looking for a good story, if you're looking for a good story in a unique setting, just absolutely. If you're not really up for a whole lot of reading, because that's pretty much what you're going to be doing in this game, probably not.
Okay. And I know you haven't recorded your video yet, but I assume it's coming in the near future. Where can people look for that once it's up?
So let me just double check the embargo. That's going to go up exactly when the embargo lifts, July 21st, which I believe is a Tuesday. It's going to be July 21st at 7 in the a.m.
Okay. And
you can find that. You read my mind. They can find that at youtube.com/relplays, RELLE plays.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Rel, for stopping by and checking out this game for us. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. Hope you enjoy Paper Mario: The Origami King just a little bit more.
I hope so too, because like I said, it's charming. I am enjoying it. I think part of it is, again, I just wish I were playing Ghosts instead, but that could have something to do with it. So, all right, man, we'll catch up with you next time. All right.
All right. See ya.
All right, I'm here once again with Thomas Bax. How you doing, Thomas?
I am taking a much-needed break from playing Last of Us 2 because that game is intense.
Yes.
In order to talk to you for a bit.
I appreciate it, man. I know I've been talking to a lot of people that are saying they can't play that game in more than 2-hour chunks just for their own sanity's sake. It's a very dark game. But you're actually here to talk to us about a point-and-click adventure you've been playing called Willy Morgan and the Curse of Bone Town. But before we get to that, can you give us an update on your progress on Desperados 3? Because you've been messaging me and telling me just how much you adored this game.
Yes.
Which is very cool. So talk to me a little bit about Desperados 3.
Well, the last time we talked, I played the first 2 or 3 missions.
Mm-hmm.
I have now played the first 12, the first 2 chapters, and started on the first chapter, the first mission of chapter 3. I think chapter 3 is the last chapter. I'm not entirely sure, and it's fantastic. I'm loving this game. It's challenging. It's fun. It's got a good story. I'm having a blast playing it. But I also needed to play Last of Us 2, so I took a wee break from Desperados 3, which is also, it's a game where you can very easily, once you get the gist of the game, you can very easily get back into it. I now have 5 characters to control. The original cowboy, and I got Dr. McCoy, who is a sharpshooter. I got Kate, who is a bit of a master of disguise. She seduces people so they don't see you coming and stuff like that. I have Hector, who is a huge Mexican guy who can take on the really big guys. And I got Isabel, who is a voodoo queen. So she can she can mind control people and have a cat to distract people. It's so cool. It's really.
I want to back up for 1 second because you said there's a character named Dr. McCoy.
Dr. McCoy, yeah.
Isn't that the guy from Star Trek? Isn't Dr. McCoy?
There's also
There's
also a Dr. McCoy in Star Trek. There's also a Hank McCoy and Dr. McCoy in the X-Men. But I think this Dr. McCoy is more based on the Hatfields and the McCoys from that era of American history. There was a very, very old feud, very famous feud.
I'm glad you're digging Desperados 3 because you've been just singing its praises to me over text. So I appreciate you checking it out.
Yeah. It's just, it. And I'm playing again. I'm still playing at the easiest level, and I'm having there are quite some challenges there. So it's like you start a mission, you get you get to see what you have to do. And then you see this map, and it's sprawling with bad guys. And you just have to figure out how to survive this, how to take out every bad guy without setting off alarms. Sometimes you have to control 3 or 4 people at the same time. Like you have to have Kate throw her perfume at a group so they get blinded. And then at that exact point, you have to have 3 people do the exact same thing, like take out 3 other guards at the moment that group is blinded so they can't see you do it. And then you have to quickly get rid of those bodies so they don't see the bodies there. It's stuff like that, you have to just, you're constantly trying to figure out what is the best way to solve this puzzle. And there are probably multiple ways to solve it too. And sometimes you just have to have a bit of luck. Like I had one instance where I needed to kill a guard who was in a watchtower without alerting anyone else. So I tried to use the sharpshooter. And the first time that worked, but then I messed something up. So I had to do it again. And then it took me 6 or 7 tries to get that guy to kill the guy again without alerting the other guys. So it's your timing has to be perfect. Your aim has to be perfect. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm
very cool.
This game is shaping up to be one of my one of the best games of 2020 for me.
Awesome, that's good to hear, man. And I'll be looking forward to hear what you think of it after you finish it up. But the real reason you came here is to talk about Willy Morgan and the Curse of Bone Town. And I know this is just a preview of the game; it's not the full game, so we won't dwell on it too long. But this one, again, is right up your alley, point-and-click adventure.
Yes.
Are you digging this one?
This is a classic point-and-click adventure, as in, inventory items collecting and trying to combining a lot of stuff and trying to figure out the best way to solve all these puzzles. And this is more like an extended demo. You can play the demo, the regular demo on Steam, which is basically the first chapter in which Willy has to assemble all the pieces of his bike so he can get to Bone Town and find out what has happened to his father. Because Willy's parents, his father has disappeared, and his mother, they're both like Indiana Jones-esque archaeologist type explorers. And one day he receives a letter from his father, who had disappeared a long time ago, 10 years ago, that there is something more going on, and he needs to investigate this. So he needs to get to Bone Town, where his dad says you need to get to this inn, to that room where I left a clue.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing he needs to do is try and find all the pieces of his bicycle so he can actually get to Bone Town. And the demo that is, I think, still available for free on Steam is that part. It's the part in the house where you collect, you try to find all the pieces. Then the second chapter is where you get to Bone Town and you find out you're actually going to hunt for a lost treasure. This is all about pirates and stuff. This is this is heavily influenced by Monkey Island. I think they kept the in jokes to the perfect amount, because you want to pay homage, but you don't want to be constantly I'm not worthy to another game, if you catch my drift.
Sure. I love Monkey Island, so is there like insult sword fighting or anything like that?
Not yet, but there are some jokes in there that you get if you've played the Monkey Island games.
Cool.
But it is a game on its own, even though it's very heavily pirate themed. And what you need to do is you need to find all the pieces of this treasure map so you can understand where on this island the treasure is hidden. And to do that, you have to delve into the history of Bone Town and talk and interact with descendants of the original pirates who founded this town, and then try and find out where all those pieces are hidden. And they are all hidden somewhere that has to do with these original pirates. And once you have all these pieces, then you find the next clue. And that's where this extended preview stopped. So it has a good feel. It looks really good. The puzzles are challenging, but not too challenging. They all made sense to me. Was just a matter of really thinking about what do I know about these people, and what items do I have? Where is this hidden? How can I combine this and make sure that I finish this puzzle? And I'm actually really looking forward to how the story goes, because I have the feeling that I've only played the first two chapters. I want to know how it continues, because I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, the voice acting, that was a bit weird. The voice acting stopped once you get to Bone Town, but that might also be a fact that this is an extended preview and not the finished game. I have a feeling that the voice acting will be back in the complete game. It just didn't go beyond what was used for the demo version. Gotcha. So that was a bit disorienting, but then I realized I'm still playing an extended demo, so it's not the finished game yet. And for the rest, the music was fun. The graphics are good. The puzzles are interesting. So I'm looking forward to play some more of this game. And I think it is scheduled to release later this year, which in the current situation of pandemic could feel like it's next month, or it could feel like it's in 10 years. So, but once it gets here, I hope to finish the story and continue the quest with Willy Morgan.
Sounds good. Again, that game is called Willy Morgan and the Curse of Bone Town. It comes from the developer Imaginary Lab. And full disclosure, we received a copy of this preview from Home Run PR. So thank you guys for the hookup there. And Thomas, thanks for stopping by and recommending this game.
Yeah, no problem.
Looking forward to your next one, man.
The next one will probably be Desperados 3 when I finished it, and hopefully also Last of Us 2 when I finish it, although you guys have already talked extensively about that one. But I'll probably need to talk to you about it once it's done.
Oh, yeah. Check out the spoiler cast. We talked about it for an hour and 45 minutes. So.
Yeah, I've deleted that one. I'm not going to listen to anything until I finish the game. I'm very, very, very spoiler phobic at the moment.
I am looking forward to hearing your thoughts when you hit certain moments, but that's all I'll say at that, because I don't want to ruin anything. So,
yeah.
All right, Thomas. Well, thanks again, and we will check with you next time, all right?
Yes, and you have a great Sunday, and talk to you next time, Scott.
Catch you later, man.
Bye-bye.
Well, I think that should do it for the games we've been playing. before we move on to the outside in topic, Chad, do you want to finish this up on housekeeping here?
Oh, sure. I can do that. Well, got some new Facebook members this week that just joined. Alyssa Boyd, Demetrius Lessig, and Kim Berg. Thank you for joining. We'll, like always, have more people hop in, join the conversations. Don't be shy around there. And on Discord, we had one new member join, Jaragorn, which sounds like somebody missing from the Lord of the Rings troop.
Yeah, it's Aragorn's long-lost second cousin.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the community. Hope you enjoyed Discord. Definitely a little more personal banter on that one.
Absolutely. And while we do not have any new iTunes reviews, we do always appreciate if you guys can give us a little 5-star hit. You know, helps us out on the old search algorithm. Thank you kindly. Well, let's move into our From the Outside In topic. Well, this week we decided to talk about horror stories. Not horror video games, but those terrible tales we've all encountered as a gamer. Scratched discs, broken save files, somebody stealing your game, all kinds of stuff. So, without further ado, CB, do you got any scary stories from your gaming history?
Oh, man. I could go pretty deep into this due to the fact that I used to work at a video game store. But one of the... So, I have two quick ones. One of the things that I hated the absolute most was when we used to do buys, because we did a lot of pre-owned buys. And I know our producer Nate can attest to this too, but we used to get in a lot of consoles that were basically roach coaches.
I'm sorry, roach, like, so they had cockroaches in there?
Not just like one or two, but like hundreds.
That's gross.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Like,
do they still run?
No. Usually they'd be like, oh, like either they would sell them as broken systems and they're like, oh yeah, I don't know why it stopped working, or people would bring my console stopped working. Can you fix this? And we'd open it up and you're like, no, just buy a new one, man. Save yourself the hassle. Get
this filth out of my store.
I actually had one that had been, I had an, oh God, I think it was a PS3 that somebody had urinated into. So that was definitely a treat.
I have seen a woman pee on a PS3.
Things happen after people drink, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't a sexy thing. She was drinking, but
so yeah,
maybe it was that PS3 CB that you got,
huh?
Because maybe it was that PS3 that I watched a woman pee into.
Maybe
this happened in Rockford. So
those,
Small
and then
world.
I actually had a person come into our store, buy a fairly expensive game, and then break it in front of me.
What? Why?
I don't know. There was no words. Just bought the game, walked towards the door, turned around, snapped the disc in half, and left. No words.
Is that the earliest recorded rage quit in video game history?
That wasn't even a rage quit. That was like a rage start.
I mean that was premeditated.
Yeah,
this guy's a true psychopath. Maybe he wanted to increase the value of this rare game by taking one more out of circulation.
Maybe. I mean, that's about the only thing I can think of. But it made me sad because I had wanted to buy that game. So it was a Sega Saturn game.
Are you sure? It wasn't Panzer Green Saga, was it?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I would have flipped a table if it was Panzer Dragoon.
I would think you would have to tackle him to the ground. You know?
Like, what'd you do? Why?
To make committed a capital offense.
Yeah. So, believe me, there are plenty more horror stories of like bad things found in consoles. Like it just brings back so many bad memories.
I mean, I worked at GameStop and everything in there was mostly clean. You know, you get the occasional theft item that the cops have to take away. But I mean, more than anything, it was just like a lot of people's adult home videos that were still on the hard drive.
Oh my god.
Across.
We had a stack of those at GameWorks because it would come in all the time, and we just had like a stack of like every time we found a new disc, just toss it in the pile.
So strange.
Yes.
These people.
And it was always like really questionable, like, did they actually watch this? Because the title alone, you're like, I didn't even know this was a thing.
It's best not to question those types of things, CB, and just let it be. I don't want to know why you were into this.
Yeah, just sit back and hit play.
Yeah. When all else fails.
What could go wrong?
People are weird, man. People are weird.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
Anywho.
What about you, Chad? What do you got for us?
As far as personal horror stories, I think like everyone else, I've experienced the loss of save stuff, but we'll dive into that with the community responses. One of my personal ones is I still have my Dreamcast, and in college we played a lot of Power Stone 2, and a roommate had given me the game, and I still have the case for Power Stone 2, and years later thought I still owned Power Stone 2, and then finally break out the Dreamcast again, open up Power Stone 2 to get it out, and what's not inside the case is Power Stone 2. So somewhere the game is missing along the way. It's not in any other case. And that sucked.
Yeah.
That's an expensive game on the after sale market, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And I've got the book in the case, but not the game. And it's really fun to play if you haven't played it. It's a good one.
Oh, absolutely.
But that was a little saddening.
I mean, for me, the most horrific story I can think of is not clean enough to talk about on this podcast. But suffice it to say that when Uno came out on Xbox Live and had the webcam functionality, there's some messed up stuff.
Oh no,
that happened there.
The sad thing is, I think I've heard this story from you.
Yeah, you've definitely had to have heard the story because it is disgusting.
Disgustingly awesome.
Yeah, it's quite a sight, let me tell you. But in terms of, like, outside of that, I mean, growing up, my video game collection was robbed a few times because my mom hung out with bad people. There was one time where we got robbed right when I was on the final boss of FF9, and that sucked because I had to redo all of that. So that was sad, but otherwise, I mean, it's mostly, save file stuff. Like I'll start us off with a, because I'm sure we'll have a lot to say on that subject. I'll start us off with a comment from Dusty Potter. Had a PS2 memory card get wiped after playing Beautiful Joe 2 demo. Memory card just so happened to have a GTA San Andreas game complete save file. LOL, he says, though I don't think he was laughing. I remember this glitch that came out there with that Beautiful Joe 2 demo.
Yeah.
Like, video game websites were like, please don't play this demo.
It was
will eat your save.
It was an actual problem? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think like Official PlayStation Magazine, I think, or PSN, like one of those, they sent out a demo disc of Beautiful Joe 2, but when you would beat the demo, it just deleted your save file. I assume it's some kind of like weird caching thing of like deleting its own data or something. Just took everything with it.
Ouch.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But it does remind me of my little brother Brandon's best friend in elementary school. I'll never forget you, Nick. You came over one time, and we had me and my brothers had worked on Donkey Kong 64, 100%ing it for over a year probably. Because that game, if you've ever played it, is a collectathon nightmare. And we survived it and got the 100%. We were so proud of that. And whenever a friend would come over, we'd be like, hey, check out this DK64 100% file. So then Nick comes over, he wants to play Donkey Kong 64, and we have the two empty save files, and then we have the 100% save file. We're like, yeah, no problem. Just play on like save file 3 and put in your name, and then we'll know that that's your save or whatever. So this kid goes right over to the little orange fruit icon, which says delete game above it, clicks on it, drags it over to save file 1, and then as it says, are you sure, hits yes, deletes our 100% save file that we were so proud of, and then it just turns around like as we're dumbfounded, like because we didn't notice it until it was too late, and he just looks back with this devilish little freaking Damien from The Omen smile and goes like, "Oops, it was an accident," and we may have struck him.
There would have been some temptation.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be temptation. That would have just been a flat out beating.
We showed Nick the cost, as it were, as children. But that's my big save file horror story. I was also on the very last conversation for the final boss of Dragon Age Origins. My PS3 yellow lighted and died, so I had to redo 85 hours of Dragon Age, and that was something else.
No thanks. Probably wouldn't even go back.
It's worth it. I mean, it's a really good game.
I've had a few of those, but I'm pretty sure at one point in time I may or may not have accidentally deleted my brother's original Final Fantasy VII save file just before the Sephiroth fight. So he had to completely
on accident or purpose?
I don't really remember. I just remember being in my room and my brother coming and throwing a memory card at me, saying, "What did you do?"
At least you knew that you had it coming.
Oh yeah. But I mean, he was this little skinny kid. I wasn't afraid. So I felt really bad though, because I know how much work he put into that.
You should have taken the beating as a form of seppuku to make up for your dishonor.
So, but there's, oh my gosh, like reading through so many of these community responses, brings back a lot of memories for me. Kurt Fowler, I went through 2 Red Rings of Death within a year of launch. And then when GTA came out, I had the hardware version that wouldn't load the second disc. So I went through 4 360s. I know which games killed my old Xboxes. The first one was Bulletstorm.
That's pretty late.
Yeah, that
things
killed,
considered.
That one killed one. Grand Theft Auto 4 killed another one. And the other one was I think it was Inversion. Because it was like 2 games that I bought around the same time. And I went through like 4 Xboxes like within 4 months.
Inversion is such a sad game to go out on.
Yes, it was.
What a mediocre murder.
Bulletstorm, I was so pissed though, because it was right in the middle of a boss fight.
And that's a good game.
Yeah.
Man, I think mine happened early on. I think it was Mass Effect 1.
Really?
My first Red Ring. Yes. And then I want to say my second one was probably during Gears 2, just because I played it too much.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, that game got a little intense in spots for what the Xbox could handle.
Yeah, I mean, it's true of the whole franchise, right? They're pushing that hardware from the get-go.
Yeah.
But at least our Red Ring stories aren't like Matthew Brody's, who said, "My 360 Red Ringed on Halo 3 launch night."
That's a rough night to lose one.
That's
knock on wood. I've had Red Rings appear, but I've never actually lost my Xbox due to one somehow, let alone on Halo 3 launch night.
That's good. Chad rubbing it in over here.
No, I hope it doesn't happen. I've had that 360 for a while, but it might just be because you guys are talking a lot of them early on. My 360 I did not get early on after launch. It was definitely later. So
well, yeah. I know Nate could probably tell me, but there was the different boards, like the Jasper board.
That was a good board, right? Didn't you want to find the Jasper board?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Man, like And see, it was always so bad, like working in a game store, because you would turn it around and look at the power plug. And if there was like this extra little tab there, you were like, yep, this one's going to fail.
Man, I am having very vivid flashbacks right now of all of this information of like, here's a serial code you want to look for if you want to try to get a Jasper unit. If you send it into warranty and they send it back, it doesn't have this, then they didn't send you a Jasper one, and you should just towel it so you can get a good Jasper one. You're like, I'm remembering all of this now.
Oh, I remember all those like homemade jank fixes.
Right. The towel trick.
Or wrap it in a quilt.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So believe it or not, one of the best fix I've ever seen, one of our techs, we used to have the Wii's, like a Wii would come in and people would be like, oh yeah, it's not turning on. And Paul, the tech, would take it into the back and shake it. Just shake the crap out of it. And then you'd go plug it in and it would power back on. There was just something about it that for some reason, it like certain things would just get stuck in it and you'd have to shake it and it would just like, oh, yep, it's fine now.
Well, that's not supposed to be right.
Yeah, but that was how we fixed them.
It's
and
like
it
a
worked.
1970 TV.
Yeah, I was gonna say like an NES cart or whatever.
Got to blow in them.
Did you still charge like $40 to repair the Wii?
Depends on it depends on who is running the counter.
Okay.
And it also depends on how big of a jerk the customer was.
Okay. That I respect, because with somebody like, hey, I need this Wii fixed. You're like, sure thing, $49.99. But someone's like, hey, I don't know what's going on with my Wii, man. You guys are the experts. Can you help me out?
You always felt bad for like the parents that came in, like they have like their little 7, 8, 9-year-old in tow, and the kid's crying because it was in the middle of it playing the game, and something happened, and you're like, I got this. I'll fix it for you. No problem. But then like somebody would come in right behind and be like, throw it across the counter, be like, this thing's so stupid. You guys can't do your jobs right. I'm like, oh, oof. Guess somebody's getting charged again.
Yeah. Screw that guy.
All right. Yeah.
Looking at another one, like another community response real quick, which makes me very sad to see. Christopher James Sowards. I just had this one happen to me. I was playing Ghosts of Tsushima and the electric flickered. I wasn't so much worried about where my last save was. It ruined my PlayStation. I couldn't get it to turn back on because the controller was acting like it lost connection. It wouldn't turn back on. I then unplugged and plugged it back up, and thank God everything came back on.
Oh my God. My heart was skipping a beat as you're reading the story.
Man, I've actually, my PS3 Fat, I lost to an electric surge. The backwards compatible PS3.
Yeah.
That one made me sad. So like as soon as I started reading this comment, I'm like, no, not another one to the electrics.
Yeah, I think I lost PS3 to that as well. And then the disk drive failed, and I couldn't get the disc out. Oh, I remember this.
So, what about you?
Can't say that's happened to me. What I would relate more to is there's a lot of comments on here from people that lost many game saves for whatever reason. Annie Smith in particular wrote, I had over 450 hours on The Binding of Isaac, and then one of the expansions corrupted my save file. I'll admit, I cried a little. I haven't really played it since then. And saw Caramel Bear and a couple others had all similar stories to that. And mostly this only happened to me because I forget to save for a while, play for 10 hours, and then not do it and realize it's your own fault. But to lose 450 hours in a game, have you guys lost that much from a corrupt file? Just in the middle of playing
it? The closest would be Dragon Age.
Well, that's from the game screwing up instead of somebody stealing it from you as a kid.
No, Dragon Age was a PS3 dying.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, but Final Fantasy IX was, somebody stealing it. But that's the one that comes to mind. There's just something about when that happens, the wind, no matter how much you love this game, like it's obviously this person loved Binding of Isaac. You know, like, just no matter how much you love a game, when you lose that amount of progress, you just feel so defeated that you can't bring yourself to play it again.
Yeah, I would not want to look back.
If I didn't need that Dragon Age save file to import in Dragon Age 2, I would not have had the wherewithal to go back through.
I can understand it. That might be the one reason to get you to do it, just so you have your story continuing. I'm kind of obsessed with things like
Only
that.
Reason. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I wanted my continuity.
Right?
Dang it. I wanted my Thetis.
That's funny. Well, this one, kind of a little heartbreaking. I don't know if anyone can relate to this. So Cecilia Ann wrote, when I was in college, I came home during a break to find that my parents got rid of my SNES and entire game collection. They didn't ask, let alone tell me beforehand. In that moment, it felt like a horror story. I wasn't thinking clearly and was convinced I'd never get to play any of those classics again.
This jogs my mind with
I'd cry.
2 memories. Yeah, so that's never happened to you, Chad?
Never happened to me. I would definitely break down in tears right there, though, like a little baby.
Pretty sure if I came home and my game collection was gone because my wife sold it, paperwork may be filed.
That would be fair. You got a big collection.
Yeah.
I got 2 stories relating to this. One is my father, when I was young, I want to say early high school maybe. He asked me what my he asked me, like, just out of nowhere, he's like, what are your 5 favorite games? And I ran off the list, and the only one I really remember is Max Payne 2. And so, like, I went to school the next day or whatever, and then he sold them all as a punishment because he had gotten my report card, and it was so bad. So he sold these 5 games to GameStop or whatever. And he saved the credit to give to me when I got my grades back, even though obviously it's not anywhere near the value of the games. But I will give him the slightest of credits for regret, because he did say, he was like, 2 days later, he's like, okay, I'm starting to feel bad. I'll buy you one of the games back. And the only reason I remember Max Payne 2 is because that's the one I chose for him to buy me back.
Good
my
choice.
5 games. And it was, I did not know, but GameStop had it on clearance for $1.99 because it had bombed so bad.
Oh.
So the one I got back was the one I could have afforded, by picking quarters up off the sidewalk.
That made me choke a little bit. I'm sorry.
It's bad. Do you guys remember how badly that game did? Like, Target would have it on the end caps for, like, box PC copy, brand new, $4.99 or whatever. That game did not do well.
There's been so many of those games, like, and being a collector, like, just now thinking about so many of those, like the fact that at one point in time, like, you could get a boxed Earthbound copy for like $4 in a KB Toy, like, bargain bin.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
That would have been something. Oh, but speaking of, like, new games or whatever, the other story is my grandfather is who, like, got me into gaming, and he's meticulous about his collections, right? Like, he still has his Atari 2600 game boxes.
Yeah.
He is a CB, at twice the age or whatever.
I like this guy already.
He's awesome. And I'm sure I've told you the story, but he, like, made us earn our way through game consoles. Like, we had to play the 2600 hits to get to the NES. And we had to play his favorite NES games before he let us play his NES. Super cool guy. I'm going to totally rip off that strategy for parenting. Anyway, he got us the N64, and he, as soon as he bought it, he said, like, this one's yours, guys. And he's like, but, like he bought all of our games, him and Grandma. But he's like, but here's a smart way to do it. Keep the boxes, because, keep the instruction manuals, because it's all being worth money one day. And he was absolutely right. The N64 did underperform and was worth money. And when we all entered adulthood, he was like, yeah, I mean, it's, we were like, hey, can we have the N64? He's like, it's yours. Yeah, you can take it home, play it. Like, it's always been yours. You sell it or whatever. And me and my brothers agreed, like, oh, let's just leave it at Grandma's. That way we're not, like, tempted to lose it or whatever. And whenever we're over here, we can, like, play the Mario Kart and replay our memories or whatever. And then you cut to, like, 2 months later, I go over there. I'm like, hey, Grandma, like, surprise visit. Hey, where's that, like, N64? I want to play, like, some Mario with Grandpa. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what? She's like, you guys agreed to sell that months ago. And I was like, no, I didn't. So my brothers lied to my grandparents and told them that I was also okay with them selling it. And they sold it all on eBay, the whole collection, split the money between them, and did nothing but buy weed with it.
Oh,
That sucks.
So they sold a huge N64 in-box collection on eBay. Mind you, okay, there were probably like 35, 40 games in that collection, all in box, with the N64, and they sold it for like $220 on eBay.
Wow.
They just sold it for a super low buy it now price. Got rid of it. Then bought a freaking disposable substance.
Well, somebody was enjoying laughing on their way to with their 64 for that price. Wow.
I'm so mad about it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I'm kind of fired up right now, honestly. So aggravated. I don't care.
That's why I'm glad I never invested in a system with another person. It's all under my control. That would drive me crazy.
Moral of the story: don't trust your siblings.
Man, well, speaking from a collector standpoint, you know how many times I've like almost bought a game like news. Here's a bit of collecting tip to all those people out there listening. If you want to collect cartridge games, do yourself a favor, go out and buy a star bit to open up the carts, because I've seen so many games that I've bought or almost bought that you open up and they're reproduction cartridges.
Ooh, that's not good. That's a lie.
And it makes me really sad, because I've been at shows before, and like you'll see some guy like, oh yeah, I've had this, and like or somebody just sold this to me, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll open it up. Like, let me take a look at it. And you open it up, and I'm like, dude, this is a fake. And he's like, I just spent $400 on this.
Ooh.
And I'm like, you better go hunt this dude down, like right now.
Honestly, the sad part, like, it's quite possible the seller didn't know either.
Yeah.
You don't know how many hands it went through from the original at that point.
But someone along the way was a total dirtbag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or opening up really expensive GameCube games and seeing disc rot.
What's disc rot?
Ooh, you don't know what disc rot is. Disc rot is a thing.
Oh.
So
Okay.
a lot of
it sounds like.
A lot of the older discs, like PS1, PS2, GameCube, some original Xbox, Saturn, like all the older disc-based stuff. If you're ever curious on if the disc is good, hold it up to a light, and if you see a lot of pinholes, like light shining through, that's disc rot. So basically, the top layer has corrupted, and you'll get to a point in the game, and all of a sudden the game will just freeze, and it won't play anymore.
What is the cause of that?
Poor materials.
Oh, okay. So it's
used to manufacture them.
So is it inevitable that like in 20 years every Xbox game would have disc rot, or the majority?
With a lot of them, yes. I'm actually seeing it a lot. If they're kept in like high humidity areas, it's very common. Like, have you ever picked up a GameCube game and you looked at the back and like you'll notice like a little bit of wavy lines in like the image?
Yes.
That's the beginning of disc rot.
Okay.
And it's very sad, because unfortunately at some point in time you're going to be spinning it and like flakes are going to start coming off. And it'll be ruined. And I'll be sad.
Well, thank you to Xbox that you can just put it in or Xbox One that you can just put it in an Xbox disc and it'll give you a digital copy.
Pretty much.
Thank you. Thanks to them.
And you get to keep your box.
Yeah.
That's your takeaway.
Your disc will be flake free.
Yeah, and that being a collector, that's one thing that's always worried me, is at some point in time, a lot of this stuff, if not maintained or kept properly, is going to break down and fail. Then I'm going to be a sad panda.
I was always worried about the batteries and cartridges for save files.
Oh my god, I've seen so many of those go bad.
I lost my Rock Band drum set and guitar because I forgot to take batteries out.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Okay, I wonder how many guitars in the back of flea market or pawn shops have died that way.
Yeah.
So many.
As they try to offload them for 99 cents.
Like original Game Boys, like people that like, oh yeah, I left it up in my attic. Let me go get it. And you open up the back and you're like, oh my God, this thing is nasty.
The batteries are from 1995 as well. All right.
They look it.
So,
All right.
Any other horror stories you guys got to read?
No, I think that about does it for us, right, guys? On our From the Outside In topic.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot more. I mean, like I said,
there's a huge response to this on our Facebook page. So we simply could not have gotten to them all. And, not to shortchange anyone, but, a lot of the stories, we've all experienced a lot of those stories of, corrupted save files or what have you, or red rings. So a lot of them were also just kind of repeated. Yeah. But we do appreciate all the responses.
And for every red ring of death out there, we salute you.
Yes. With a towel. All right.
Bacon in the oven at 200.
Next week's topic is still up in the air, but we're trying to get this phone line going, guys. So if you want to call in with your response, it's 347-746-2278, or an easier way to remember that is 3477-GO-CAST. So if you want your beautiful dulcet tones on the podcast, you can call in there. But that'll do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. CB, any parting words for the week?
No, man, I'm pretty tapped out this week. You know what? I'll go with this because you and I were talking about it before the show. For those of you out there playing Ghosts of Tsushima, go watch Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa.
All 3.5 hours of it.
Yep.
In all of its glory. Chad, you got any parting words for us?
Just all you RPG players, get out there and try CrossCode. It's going to be one of your indie finds of the year, I'll say. And to all those with Ghost, enjoy it. Apparently, it's quite the game. But I won't be playing it anytime soon.
Yeah, and as for me, I have done nothing but play Ghosts of Tsushima, so I've got a little to add here.
And make coffee.
What a game. Yeah, well, I do that. I don't get a choice there. Thank you so much for listening. Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. Be sure to email us if you have any questions or concern. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Zach Parkerson with Chris Behrensmeyer and Chad Cusick, and we are The Gaming Outsider. Remember, there's such a thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.